Okay, good afternoon, whatever the case may be. Here are the 1.3 notes. So in this section we are talking about parallel and intersecting lines and planes. So let's dive right in. I'm gonna try and get it under 15 today, so let's see what we can't do. So parallel, P-A-R-A-L-L-E-L. We're going to break it into lines, and we're going to break it into planes. Alright, so boom. Do some examples. Let's split this card. So we're going to have lines here, and we'll have planes here. So parallel lines, I'm going to use my straight edge here. Parallel lines, there we go. So I'm going to call this X, Y, call this D, E. Alright, so these lines are parallel. They never intersect. Never intersect. And they're also on this note card, and we talked about earlier, this note card is a great representation of a plane. So they are never intersect, and they are coplanar. C-O-P-L-A-N-R. Yeah. So coplanar, never intersect. Alright, and the way that we write this is XY is parallel, little double arrow there, to D, E. Okay, you can of course write it like ED, and then instead of the double arrows you can also just draw two vertical lines. ED is X. Okay, you can move it all around. We talked about that the other day. So coplanar lines. I'm actually going to kill this notation. The other notation is preferred, so go ahead and do that. That's why they make erasers or pencils. Alright, so we're good there. Planes. Alright, so for a plane I want to start by drawing a cube. And we're just going to hand sketch this. And don't be concerned if your cube is kind of a mess the first time through. That's why we practice things. Okay. So, and you know, full disclosure, I am a terrible artist, and that will be exposed through the course of the year. So that's probably about as good as it's going to get right there. So planes. I'm going to shade this front plane in. Alright, and then I'll shade the other way this rear plane in. Okay, so those two planes, the front and the back, are parallel. They're not going to intersect. The sides are parallel too, as well as top and bottom, but I don't want to shade it all in. It'll be confusing. So let's go ahead and label this A, B, C, D, and we'll call this E, F, G, H. Okay. So intersecting planes, they never intersect. I'm sorry, parallel planes. Go ahead and Got a little line through here. Never intersects. An example of this would be like the ceiling and floor. And the way we would write this is we would say plane, call it ABC, is parallel to plane GHE or EFG or however you want to write it, GHE. I'll write it that way just to show you some variables. Alright, so that's parallel. I guess we didn't do a real world example over here. Kind of the classic one is railroad tracks. Alright, so that is parallel. Okay, so next we have intersecting. We have, again, lines and planes. Okay, and hopefully this is pretty intuitive. You've already been exposed to things that intersect. Okay, so let's go ahead and break this into halves again. So lines and planes. Okay. So intersecting lines, I'm going to go ahead and draw a line right here, and then I'll draw some other kind of line here. And I could draw them at 90, but I chose not to. Really, I could draw an infinite series of intersecting lines. So I'm going to go ahead and label A, B, C, D. Some little points on there. Okay. So intersecting lines. They're going to meet. They're going to meet in a point. Some point. So let's say we'll say AB. We'll use some math notation. AB. There's no shorthand here. AB intersects CD at, and please write the at. This is not a text conversation or a Instagram feed, or Twitter account. AB intersects CD at E. Okay, so they will intersect at a point. Okay, so lines intersect at a point, and that point in this case is E, and you could draw a number of other examples. Alright, so that is lines. Let's split this off and get some intersecting planes. Okay, so I'm going to draw another cube or rectangular prism. And again, not perfect, not terrible. So planes, intersecting planes. Okay, so let's say this is a plane in front, and then let's say this is a plane on top. So I'm going to shade that in lightly so I can see where they are. Okay, now those two are going to intersect, and they're going to intersect right here. Now remember, these go on forever, so this plane extends up and out forever, and this one comes forward forever, so they're going to intersect in this, which is going to extend forever. So intersecting planes intersect in a line. And this is one of these classic Euclidean geometric, which is the form of geometry we're studying. Classic Euclidean geometric ideas. All right, that two planes intersect in a line. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get some labels: A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. We'll say plane A, C, D. Remember, I can pick any three on that plane. Intersects plane F, G, H in BC. And what is BC? BC is a line. Okay, so that is intersecting planes and lines. Okay, the last term in this section is skew, and skew is something that I struggle with. I usually, in all honesty, have to Google it just to get a refresher and to kind of make sure I'm on the right page. So skew, and what I'll say about this, and this is something I struggle with, is this. And KISS is keep it simple, silly. There's other words you can put in for S, but we'll just leave it for silly, like to keep it clean for the kids. Alright, so keep it simple, silly, skew, KISS. So let's get into what skew is. So for skew, I'm going to draw my rectangular prism, a cube, if I can draw it perfectly, which we have discussed. It's something I struggle with, so it'll probably be more like a rectangular prism than a cube. Oh, this one's not shaping up too bad. I hope I didn't just jinx it here. Alright, there we go. So skew. Skew line. Okay. Let's say we've got AB right here. And we've got EH right here. Okay, so here's this line right here. And extend out forever. Okay, and we've got this line right here. It's going to extend out forever. Okay. Are these lines going to intersect? You should see that they're not. And then the other thing is, are they parallel? And they are not. Okay, and there's other examples of this in here. We could call this XY. Okay, and so we have one that comes here, and you should see that that's not going to intersect with EH or AB either. So skew is does not intersect. Is not parallel.